Father Matt Malone has had a few busy months after taking on the role as editor of America magazine in October. He's the youngest editor-in-chief in the Catholic magazine's history, and Father Matt Malone joins me now on the set of ClearVoice. Welcome, Father.
Thank you.
A great accomplishment, great achievement. How do you feel?
I feel great.
Yeah. And you just were ordained in June, I understand, as well. Congratulations.
I was, yeah. Thank you very much.
So right from ordination into the role as editor-in-chief, tell us about the transition and the fact that you're the youngest editor-in-chief ever.
Well, it was dramatic.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah, and the period was pretty compressed to be ordained in June and then to begin work at America in October. It's very exciting, though. I think one of the things that the Jesuits had in mind here when they asked me to undertake this assignment was they were looking for somebody who was from a younger generation, who could sort of bridge the gap between an older generation of writers, Catholic writers who know how to craft a narrative and tell a story, and a younger generation of Catholic communicators who have the digital revolution in their DNA. And I think they were looking for somebody who could perhaps act as a bridge between those two generations and marry, the very best of the Catholic literary tradition with the very best of the digital age. And I was the one on the list.
And in fact, you're in Boston this week to speak at Boston College about that very thing. It's the media in the 21st century.
Right.
To dive into those things, because we were speaking before the interview about you feel there's a need for a voice, and a reasonable voice out there, and you're hoping that America can provide that.
Yeah. I think, America, we started in 1909. We're founded by the Jesuits, and, I always go back to John Courtney Murray's definition of a Jesuit. A Jesuit stands at the intersection of the church and the world, helping to interpret the world for the church and the church for the world. And that's what America Magazine does. We kind of set up shop, as it were, overlooking the public square. And nowadays, from where we sit, we look out on the public square, this conversation in the United States that is increasingly polarized, and a media that's increasingly polarized, and a conversation that's pretty uncivil, that lacks charity and that lacks depth. And so, we see our mission at America to try to contribute to, in the modest way that we can, to providing a model for a public discourse that is civil, that is informed, and that proceeds from, basic Catholic Christian values.
Well said, Father. And you're a talented writer yourself. You've won recognition for personal articles like the one on the act of forgiveness which your father displayed after a family tragedy. Tell us a little bit about that article and whether that incident in your family life influenced you to discern for the priesthood.
Oh, it absolutely did. This was an article I wrote some years ago. In 1984, my father was a firefighter. My brother was 16 years old and involved in a tragic drunk driving accident. My father responded to the accident, and he was the first person on the scene of the accident. And it was my brother's friend who was driving the vehicle and was responsible for his death. And some weeks later, my father appeared in court on this person's behalf and asked for leniency, and essentially made the argument that that this man would suffer with the knowledge that he had taken his friend's life for the rest of his life, and that if any kind of punishment was warranted, that was punishment enough. And and the judge was lenient, and this man was able to go on and build a life for himself. And to me, it was the most powerful act of Christian witness that I had ever personally seen, and it still is to this day. My father doesn't think of it that way. In fact, he's not a big fan of my talking about it because he's a very humble person. But it was a very important moment. And for me, anyway, a very formative moment, and really did begin to get me to think about how I could be, in some modest way, part of the ministry of reconciliation.
Thank you so much for joining us today on ClearVoice. We wish you the best of luck in your new role.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.